Welcome to this session. Today we explore the rules and practices that form the foundation for governing the documentary credits. We look at UCP 600, we look at how MT700 Swift messages are formatted, we look at how ICC Incoterms will help us. We also look at what we need to do to ensure consistency, clarity, and alignment. We will also see how we can enable smooth and secure transactions. The UCP 600 is a globally recognized set of rules published by International Chamber of Commerce ICC, Paris. It provides standardized guidelines for operation of documentary credits. UCP 600 ensures uniformity in interpretation and enforcement across jurisdictions. The recent version was published in 2007 and it was originally started from 1933. The key features or objectives of UCP is that standardized definition. It brings about uniformity in DC operations, minimization of the disputes, protection for the parties, and global acceptance of the letter of credit. The key feature is standardized definition. It defines the critical terms such as compliance, discrepancies, and issuing bank. A compliant presentation means all documents submitted under the DC must conform to the terms and conditions without discrepancies. Discrepancy means any deviation from the requirements in the LC or the UCP which will lead to rejection of the document. Then there are clear guidelines on document preparation and submission. There is a specification on how documents should be formatted or prepared or signed or dated, what should be the content, what should be the language, etc. It sets strict timelines for the banks to review the documents, 5 banking days after the date of receipt of the documents. So this ensures the fairness for both the parties by requiring banks act promptly. The exporter has to ship within the last shipment date. They have to present document within the presentation period. The claim should be dated and presented and received by the nominated bank or the confirming bank or the issuing bank on or before the expiry date of the LC. All these are the strict timelines on the dates. Then the focus is on documents. That means payment is contingent upon submission of compliant documents. It is not dependent on performance under the underlying transaction. Banks deal in documents, not in goods. So these are the focus. On the top of everything, the letter of credit is an independent instrument, independent from the underlying contract. That is why it is said it is not dependent on the performance on underlying transaction and it is not worried about the movement of the goods. But banks are interested under UCP 600 LC on the documents and their compliance only. So if there is an exporter in China, they are sending electronics to US. The buyer would have opened an LC subject to UCP 600. The exporter will submit, for example, a commercial invoice, a bill of lading, a certificate of origin, and the issuing bank will pay within 5 banking days provided the documents are compliant. Now, if anything else is to be brought into the equation, then that should be mentioned in the letter of credit clearly and acceptable to both parties. Let us look at MT700. MT700 is the format. The category 7 are the messages used in trade finance. 700 is issuance of an LC. 710 is advice of an LC. 720 is transfer of an LC. 701 is a continuation of a letter of a credit. 707 is an amendment to the credit. So these are some of the 7 series messages used in Swift format, financial messages for trade or LC related transaction. MT700 is a standardized template for letters of credit transmission from issuing bank to the advising bank. What is Swift? This is a society for worldwide interbank financial telecommunication. Society for worldwide interbank financial telecommunication. It helps in secure and efficient communication of financial messages between two banks. Even corporates can become members of this Swift. It is a cooperative society in Brussels. The MT700 facilitates issuance, amendment, execution, etc. by providing a structured format or a template so that every bank will have the basic minimum information. There are some fields which are mandatory, some fields which are optional, some fields which are conditional. So every bank will receive the letter of credit in the same format because of the uniformity of the structure brought in by Swift. The information on beneficiary, the name, the address, the contact details, and then the applicant's information, who is the importer, what is the name and address to be mentioned in the relevant documents. Shipment terms, is it ex works, is it CIF? The goods, is it how much goods should be shipped, what specification, how they should be packed, what is the unit price, how much is the overall currency and value, what are the dates within which certain actions need to be taken. So for example, it can say 500 units of automobiles of whatever brand engine valued at this much per unit, and then it will be shipped by sea on or before this date, and they should be sent in LCL container or fully loaded container, whatever it is. The letter of credit will also list the documents to be presented under the LC. The documents called for are called the required documents, like invoice, 3x3 original BL, one certificate of origin in original signed by Chamber of Commerce, etc. Insurance document is applicable based on the in-code terms. The payment terms can be 60 days after shipment, 90 days from receipt, etc. The expiry date and the place of presentation will decide how and when the beneficiary will have to make a compliant claim under the letter of credit. So there will be a validity period of the LC, and that is the expiry date, and then there will be an expiry place on that date, on that place. If presentation is not made, after that the beneficiary cannot claim to make a compliant presentation. What are the advantages of MT700? Now, the advantages of MT700 is that it specifies the required terms and conditions so that everybody will be uniformly understanding the standard way of interpreting a letter of credit. So consistency, reduction of error, simplicity in communication, the streamlining of the process of the letter of credit issuance or advising. So this brings about efficiency for all the parties, and then Swift gives security, that is, it protects the sensitive information because it is encrypted and safe, and it is quick. Within a minute it is delivered to the recipient. Now let us look at the Incoterms. Some of the Incoterms popularly known are FOB is free on board. Free on board means the seller has a responsibility to load the goods onto the vessel, that's all and nothing more. CIF is cost, insurance and freight. That means the seller, whatever he is charging for the cost of goods, includes the cost of freight and insurance. That means insurance and freight will be arranged by the seller. That means the exporter will have to enter into a contract with the insurance company for the insurance cover, and the forwarder or the carrier for carrying the goods by paying the freight. These are some of the popular Incoterms. Ex-works is very popular because here the exporter has the least responsibility. The exporter or the seller's responsibility is to only to place the goods at the disposal of the buyer at the seller's place or the factory gate or something similar by providing a prior notification that goods are ready for delivery. So these are the Incoterms. One of the extreme Incoterms is DDP, delivered duty paid, where the exporter is responsible for delivering the goods in buyer's country after paying the import duty in buyer's country also. Now, how do we align the Incoterms and documentary credits? Now, aligning Incoterms and documentary credits is important because if CIFP or CIF is an Incoterm, then the insurance document should be called for. Incoterms ensure the parties know what their responsibilities are or where the risk ends. If it is not CIF and if you call for insurance document, then the counterparty may claim it to be inconsistent or irrelevant. Now let us look at the document examination. Now the combination of UCP 600, MT 700 and the Incoterms create a robust framework for the letter of credit and protects the interest of the buyer and seller and the bank also. So the end result is consistency, clarity, security, efficiency. Consistency, clarity, security, and efficiency. Now, this being the case, if documents are presented under the letter of credit, what will have to be done? Because UCP 600 gives a clear definition that upon receipt of documents up to 5 banking days, the bank may take for reviewing the document, and then they have to decide whether it is compliant or not, and if compliant they have to immediately honor, and if discrepant they have to expeditious means they have to inform the presenter that the document presented have been rejected and returned or be on hold, and the reason for refusal is 1 2 3 4 discrepancy. So the bank has to review whether it is issuing a nominated bank, whether it is a issuing bank, or whether it is a confirming bank. If the bank is just an advising bank, they do not have a responsibility to review. After that, they will pay. If they find there are some discrepancies, they may on their own go back to the counterparty also, that is the issuing bank or the applicant, and seek their waiver for the discrepancies identified. So the exporter will prepare the goods, prepare the documents, ship the goods, submit the documents. Bank will verify. When found compliant, the documents will be sent to issuing bank. Issuing bank will again verify. When found compliant, will tell the applicant that the documents have arrived and they have to make payment for the compliant documents. Alternatively, they would say documents are discrepant and ask them whether they are willing to take up the discrepant documents. So these are some of the risks in the letter of credit transaction and the practices by way of making the framework of UCP, Incoterm and MT700 help the parties to efficiently transact using a letter of credit. Thanks for watching this video. The benefit of this is consistency, clarity and security. So it is necessary to know that though there are risks in a letter of credit, the rules and practices help to overcome them.